What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we do our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world because crypto is the biggest opportunity here over the next little while, and nothing is even close. So, welcome along on the journey, guys. We're pumped to have you here. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here, being blessed with you guys to be on this amazing journey where we're going to use cryptocurrencies as the wealth creation tool. I know you guys have heard us say it millions of times, and have that bear market hedge with real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And it's just going to be a blast going through these times where right now we're seeing some turbulence, amongst all the markets. And it's just fun to be on this journey, though, with you guys. And you guys make our show. If you're watching, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, help our algorithm. We want to talk about things that cut through narratives. We want to be able to cut through narratives, get right to the meat of things. And we're not always going to be right. In fact, I looks like I might be wrong with my Pulse call. I thought Pulse had bottomed last week, although, Dame, when I thought Pulse bottomed, I put all my economic energy into PulseX and Ink. And I'm like, well, if it's bottomed, I'm going to go into these because these are the more like they've shown the strongest strength. And it seems like those are still showing strong indicators that they've bottomed. But Pulse is kind of making a little bit of it hasn't gone way. It's like I think we're at 4.043 today or 4.2. I thought bottom would be like around 4.05, 4.6. So it's a little bit lower than I thought. But since I put my money into the more stronger of the two of all the RH assets, it's holding. I had bought PulseX at 4.019 and we're at 4.020. So could be wrong with the Pulse call. We could go down a little bit lower. I saw that his name was Soda Chronicles or something like that. I know some of you guys probably don't jive with him. I don't mind him. He's a very short-term caller when he does his TA, but he's pretty accurate with his TA, to be honest with you. I've seen him be really accurate with this stuff. And he's saying 3.9 would be the bottom of Pulse, which, hey, man, I'm cool with that. Like, since I got a really good DCA into PulseX and Ink, I think at their bottoms, it could go lower, guys. Like we always say, this stuff could get smashed down by one individual alone. But I think my next DCA might be Pulse. My question is, I'm still hesitant about Hex, man. Hex just seems like to be getting demolished. I just don't know where the downside support's going to be at that. I think if I go in and do another DCA this month or beginning of next, I think my chips are going to be in Pulse. I might put a little bit more in the Ink because I don't think anybody can have enough ink here. And I know some of you guys might hate me for it, but I'm going to put some more into Solid X too. So that's where I'm at with this stuff. I don't know where the Hex bottom is going to be. I think Soda Chronicles said it was like, what do you say, Dane? Like a third of a penny maybe or something like that. It's just not one of my favorites. I know you guys have heard me say it many times out of the RH tickers. My favorite RH tickers are Ink and PulseX. Right now, I feel like they're just they're showing so much strength against the other tickers. It's ridiculous how much strength they're showing. And I think, man, we got to learn from what the market tells us. And if these things want to continue having some downward pressure, but they're showing strength, let's not look at that. And let's figure this piece out. Now, I do want more Pulse. I always want more Pulse. And I'm going to wait for some structure there. And I think we're still very close to it. I think we're definitely closer to the bottom than we are to the top. And maybe this is the bottom in this area. Maybe bottom is like 4.04, 4.039. Who knows? I think the first bottom, wasn't it Dane 4.03 or 4.033 or something? On Pulse, yeah. The initial bottom, and that would be the SEC FUD bottom. Although the SEC FUD's still here, but what was it?
It's like 4.032. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
So, it wouldn't surprise me if we hovered around that 4 level and create a structure there. Now, once again, we could go down and I know you've said this, Dane, before, we could go down and do a double bottom. There's no reason why we can't. I mean,
yeah, I'm not seeing any reason that we don't at this point, at least. So, well, a couple of interesting things. So the first, here I have the Hex price chart pulled up. If you look at it in USD terms, right, it's just a bunch of red. Oops.
Jeez.
Yeah, if you look at it in USD terms, yeah, I don't, where's the bottom? I don't know, but where it is interesting is in Pulse terms, and here you're starting to form a little bit of a W. You've got higher lows over
It
here.
is.
Pulse. It's forming some structure here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. We might start to see some strength here versus Pulse. And I mean, we've talked about it a lot on the show, right? You just want to buy things that are cheap. I mean, in relationship to Pulse, you're here under this 0.6. Wait, how did I measure this? Let's zoom way out and see.
Just on the local move, you measured the fib extension is what you did.
That's right. I mean, you just want to buy things when they're cheap. I mean, this is Hex in relationship to Pulse. It doesn't get a whole lot cheaper. I mean, if you want to measure from where we're at right now down to these lows, I mean, it's only down to the bottom of the wicks, it's a 20% cheaper price versus Pulse. It doesn't get a whole lot more cheaper here compared to Pulse, and you got a little bit of a W there. Let's see if it'll come, and
that's great.
And if it can outperform, that'll be interesting.
Maybe Dane, maybe my DCA instead of Ink and Pulse, maybe it's Pulse and Hex. I'll have to see what the price chart's telling me when I get the DCA money ready. But yeah, that's an interesting find. It is starting to look like it wants to do a W there, and it wants to find structure, which there's a lot of liquidity in that area, because look back there where all that price action was at.
Oh, yeah, there's tons.
There's tons of price action in there. And so that tells me that's a very interesting spot, in that it could definitely form some structure there. We'll see. I like the way it looks though. And so maybe that's the next move. Maybe I buy a little bit of Pulse, a little bit of Hex, and a little bit of Solid Hex.
So here's an interesting, why are you buying Solid X? So that's that looks like a falling knife on that one. Is there something there that you like?
Measure it against Pulse, and all the bigger TA guys are saying, like Hans says, it's like this is where Granny would be interested is in this level. And I really respect Hans on his calls. There was another guy who did a analysis on Solid X that was basically saying, if you look at the fib, I think it is on versus Pulse, I think the next strong support is at $23. It's at $23 range. And and so I definitely want to, and I also have a goal. I want to have a certain amount of coins to give me a certain amount of C-level position in this particular asset. And so
this
right in that,
like a big giant falling knife right now.
Yeah,
I want to see some price structure before I'm personally interested in picking up some more of this. So this is in terms. I want to see something in here. I want to see a W. I want to see some sort of, but you're right. We're under the 0.618. I would think that it probably is more likely
there.
Touch the 786, yeah.
And if I remember right, that's the $23 zone. If you do an extension down, what is that, like
20% dip from here,
and then put it in USD, and then do a 20% drop from where we're at today? Maybe are we under it now? Are we 22? Maybe I was. Looks like we're at $22 today. So actually, what happens if you drop 20% from here?
Dip is like 17.
$17. Okay. Yeah, that might be the right price point to wait for then. Yeah, but you're right, Dane.
I'm just waiting for price structure to be real
structure. Yeah,
interested
I
in.
agree with you on that.
I'm tired of catching falling knives. I'm totally comfortable not buying anything until there's some price structure. And I like, I mean, you're seeing some of it on the hex price chart, so that has me, that has me more interested as far as charts are concerned. I mean, we could look at a few others here. We looked at this a little bit on let me share this one a little bit on our open mic show, I think on Friday.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at the Pulse X. This is in Pulse terms. I mean, it's beautiful. We talked about this on our show. Here's this W that we drew. It was Wing it out, and
Yep.
it's just trending up beautifully in Pulse terms. It's looking good, right? You got some price structure now. To your credit, right? This isn't in the buy zone versus Pulse. In fact, we're getting back near all-time highs versus Pulse, which is pretty interesting. In fact, one could argue that there might be a time here to be looking to swap your Pulse X for more Pulse if you thought
maybe, but also if it goes above the all-time high, you're in now what's called price discovery, and it can just go. It doesn't have to. There is no.
I'm not interested in swapping my Pulse X for Pulse.
Me neither.
But
me neither.
Right.
In fact, I'm interested
for the reason you just said. Exactly.
Yeah, because you go in price discovery zone, and then at that point, I'm not going to fight the market. I'm just going to hold my Pulse X bag and let it go. In fact, it's funny because as you know, there was a lot of controversy in the community where the Pulse X guys or Pulse X / kind of maxis, and then the Hex and Pulse maxi. You saw this, and there was a lot of infighting about that. Man, gosh, if you guys were dumping your Pulse X and not paying any attention to it at all, I think those guys are going to be punished. Same with Ink.
They're going to be punished. I think the same. Yeah, I agree.
It's like the guys who are like, oh, it's Hex, only Hex, or only, man. Yeah. It just don't. Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's trying, in my opinion, to form some structure here. We still, here's a lower low here versus over here. Do we get, and then you got this pump, and it's trying to, does it set a higher low here? So far, it's a higher low. Can we get a W out of here and get some structure? It tried back here, but then people sold it down. So, but I like the structure here. It's pretty decent USD terms, Pulse terms. It looks really strong. If we look at something like, let's go back and look at Ink.
Oh, you're going to see a lot of strength, at least in Pulse terms.
And who called this? Like nobody, right?
Maybe Brizology.
Who called Ink being Richard?
Brizology aped at the bottom. Credit to him. He aped at the bottom.
Yeah. Let me share this one. I mean, it's looking strong here. We've got a lot of liquidity where it's sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's blow it up a little bit so you can see it. Let me go bigger. I need to break out my mouse instead of my tracker pad here. But I mean, you got a higher low over here.
If it stays.
If it holds, does this level over here hold? I don't know, man. But
put it against Pulse.
Yeah, that's a great point. And look at that. It's holding in there beautifully. It's really
dude, you guys who fade this, your guys are crazy.
It's really
who fade Ink and Pulse X. I am sorry. And maybe we're wrong, and that's fine because I hold bags of everything, but like
we're not wrong so far. So it's interesting, right? What do you want to buy? One could argue that Hex is cheaper than all of these, and Pulse as well. And so do you go buy the things that are cheaper, or do you buy the things that are showing strength? For me, I don't want to buy the cheaper things until we see, until the charts are saying, hey, there's something here. The Hex one's looking interesting versus Pulse. I'm happy to see some more structure there before I'm chasing anything. Uh,
I don't
but
blame
yeah,
you.
it's interesting.
I don't blame you. For me, it's dollar cost averaging is king. That is king, king, king. And I don't think it was Slop who was talking about it's great to wait for structure, but if you do miss you could miss 30 to 70% of the move on structure. So that's where I'm always like, what do I do? And that's why dollar cost average is always like my next liquidity that I'm bringing in, I'm gonna dollar cost average it in very slow.
I'm being
Very
really patient
slow.
with my money right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Real conservative, real slow, see what happens. I think that's a smart move because even to Brzology's point, yeah, it's 5,300 for a million hex. Well, bro, will it go down to 4,300 a million hex? Is it going to go down to $3,300 a million hex? Like literally, Briz, I can buy maybe twice as much if I wait. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. And that's where Dane's saying about catching the falling knife is where it comes in, into play. And it's very important to be careful with this stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We just don't know.
This is bold. Selling all my property and buying EHEX.
I think it's still a play, man. It's a
I don't
lottery
think
ticket.
I don't think it's a crazy play. Yeah. Especially
It's a
right now.
lottery ticket play, but
EHEX is so cheap. I mean, seriously, go back before the Pulse sack. You couldn't have convinced anyone that Hex would be where it's at today. Nobody. Nobody would have. No, they would have said you're crazy, and here we are. It's interesting and it's a cool opportunity. I mean, to go get a million hex was a dream for a lot of people near the top of last cycle, and here we are. You can get it for relatively inexpensive.
yeah, I think you get a million EHEX for like 1,200 or something right now, 12 or 1,300. I mean,
here's one. This is interesting, and in fact, there's some really interesting correlations here. So Pulse volume went down big time. This is not going to go. This is not going to play out well, IMO. We need more activities. Did you notice, Corey, the ETH volume is almost at a standstill? In fact, I think that the gas price this weekend
was one Gwei.
That is insane. One Gwei. It's it's wild to see how some of this stuff. In fact, do I have it pulled up here? Let's see if I can get my little Chrome extension to load. But man, that's wild. Something like ETH is dead right now as far as volume. In fact, I think the only place where there's any volume right now is Solana with all the pump and dumps. Like otherwise, there's just not a lot going right now. And in fact, that brings me to like you mentioned earlier, there was the news recently that it looks like a lot of the Mt. Gox supply, the Bitcoin supply, is going to come on the market here starting next month. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's something that we need to take in consideration. Once again, Dane, to your point, catching a falling knife and also our dollar cost average strategy. Because if we see Bitcoin go down into like, say high 50s because of this, you don't think that's not going to affect all the markets. It's going to infect all the markets. So I don't know, man. And maybe it's a nothing burger, but I don't think this one is this time. I think they said that I saw it. I saw the news on it. There's a lot of them. I think it's 170,000 or something crazy BTC being distributed out next month. And the cost basis for most of these people is at $800 as what they receive or bought those BTCs at. So even at today's price, like $65,000, I mean, they're wildly in profit. And why wouldn't a lot of them sell? Why? I don't know. And it's interesting. Let me see if I can find that news. So 140,000 BTC will be, looks like it's going out next month. The average customer entry is $800 BTC price from 2014. They are all on side 80x or more is what I'm reading here. And then I'm reading, yeah, this is interesting, man. I mean, this could happen next month. I know Richard Hart was talking about this for a long time. This was one of his talking points for forever when these Mt. Gox BTC. But I've also heard this before, like, these coins getting released. So we'll see what it does, man. I think we need to keep it in consideration, though, on our dollar cost average strategies, and definitely figure out, is it right time to be buying more of these volatile assets, or is it better to just wait on the sidelines until there's some better price structure, to your point, Dane?
I'm comfy waiting, man.
I like it.
I'm comfy waiting. And I was looking, there was also, I want to see if I could find it here. There was a DIY investing Donovan. He had a tweet where he was saying he had some additional context to the Mount Gox situation that I thought was interesting. Let me see if I could find
See
it.
if you find that. I would love to know all the information we can kind of dig up around that, so we can just mentally prepare for it. I mean, once again, to Brizology's 5,300 for a million hex, that might go down to 3,300 million hex, bro. Like, I want to make sure I have dry powder waiting for that moment if it happens, because I mean, that's like having a second chance of almost being an OG hex again. You're getting a second opportunity when you're getting down in these price levels that you just, that everyone would have dreamt about even a year ago. And so I want to make sure that you have capital on the sidelines waiting for these opportunities, because that saying, Dane, really resonated with me more recently, where the markets can stay irrational, then you could stay solvent. That is saying, once again, going like, say you would go all in right now and you don't have more money for another 3 months, right? That would be like, and the market goes down, there's another 50% drop. That was where that saying comes into play, saying that you went insolvent or insolvent while the market stayed irrational. That's a very impactful saying. And to see it happen and play out in front of our eyes, it's something that I'm going to take in consideration for sure.
Right, agreed. I can't find it, but long story short, what he was saying is he was essentially saying that it was a bunch of unnecessary FUD. He was saying that his friend has, a decent amount of Bitcoin, but is actually only going to be getting a very small amount because of how they're pricing it in. And so it wasn't something to get like real worried about.
Yeah. I mean, the FUD alone, though, will drop the price. Like, plebs will sell, and even BTC, right? They're going to sell because of the FUD. That's what it is. That's how you see these things happen. It's the FUD alone. Like, it's just, everything is just FUD and narratives, or, is it a narrative to make things pump, or is it FUD to make it dump? And here we are living through some more FUD during this kind of like risk off part of the cycle, where post BTC halving, it's still pretty on track for the cycles leading up into the next pump, which should be somewhere in like August, September, October. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see, but I guarantee if BTC goes down and hits in the $50,000 range, you better believe all crypto is going to be affected.
Yeah, agreed.
Not just BTC. It may not. I don't see BTC pumping to 80 grand over the FUD. I don't see the opposite happening. Could be wrong. Who knows, man?
That's a good point. And it's funny to see, I can't remember who came on the show and talked about this, but we've talked about it a few times where, it was Sprackburger. He's saying, the worst news tends to come when the market's down or boring. There's not a lot going on, and the best news comes when it's pumping. And this is one of those things where like Bitcoin's just been kind of hanging out, ETH the same. In fact, you could, back to the comment, you could say like ETH is dead, if you will, right now, with the transaction volume being so low and gas prices so low. And then you have news like this. It's really interesting to learn the game and determine how to participate.
Yep. It's telling you, man, we're just in a movie. The script's already been written, and you just got to look for the puzzle pieces and clues left along the way.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Money from BT. I thought about this. In fact, I think this is a great
That's
point. Yeah,
interesting.
you could definitely see the ratio flip here, and you could see ETH get a lot more bullish if BTC sells down a little bit, but ETH holds form. This will be really interesting to monitor.
That will be interesting. That will be. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. That's a good comment. According to DCC, 35% amount of the Mt. Gox tokens have been bought by someone. Interesting.
OTC type deal.
I could see that, like a BlackRock thing.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So lots of things to look forward to. I'm telling you, like I'm really comfortable with some of this stuff, like being patient with my new money that I have coming in. It's so powerful to buy. Man, if you could buy darn near bottoms, it's so powerful. It's incredible the difference.
I know.
How impactful that could be. And I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I think I'm gonna hang out with you, Dane, even on my next DCA. Just wait a little bit, maybe put a nibble in, but like for the most part, keep the most of my economic energy to see what July brings us. It'll be interesting. I think July, it could go both ways, but we're definitely not going to go to the moon in July. That's for sure. That's for sure.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I want that 3,300 million P hex, man. That's what I'm going to be looking for.
Yeah, it's interesting. Money from BT Cell might rotate into ETH to get a 2x. I mean, you could even see some of the money start rotating sooner because people are nervous about selling of BTC. So yeah, this actually, I think in a lot of respects, you could see the ratio flip here. This could be the flippening, the part of the cycle where ETH gains some strength against Bitcoin, and we could have an altcoin season.
Wouldn't that funny? It would lead up right to what the analysts or basically the charts and the cycles tell us where altcoin season's at. It's funny how it lines up with that narrative. We'll see if it does coincide. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. But cool, Corey. Those are the talking points that I had off the top of my head. Are there other ones you want to cover today on the show?
Oh, that's it, man. We can keep it a nice quick one. It's Monday, and I think we're here all week. For the most part, we'll be here all week. So guys, tune in. If you're watching over on Twitter, hit the likes, hit the subscribe over on YouTube for us. Help us boost our algorithm. Even though you want to watch us on Twitter, it's fine. Just say, come over and help us out here. And ETH ETF starts in July. It's July 2nd is when the liquidity starts flooding in. There it is. That would be
confirmed? Is that confirmed?
It's confirmed.
Have the S1s been approved?
Yes, sir.
Have they?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I dropped the documentation in our news channel like last week.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yes, sir. It's July 2nd. So that's funny, Dane. The narrative that you just talked about, or the one Justo said, it's actually Justo. It's funny how that can coincide together perfectly. That's very interesting. And if you watch, I know Sami has that, like he does the charts a lot, and he has that where it flips green on the super trend. Like we're right under that super trend. We're about to where we could flip green. Maybe this is the catalyst that flips this green, and then it's go time. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't mean that we're going to go 10x overnight, guys. In fact, we could be very wrong about the whole thing. In fact, I've been wrong many times. I was wrong about Pulse Bottom, and that's fine. I'm happy to admit it because I'm not here to be right or wrong. I'm here to make money. But I'm still happy with dollar cost averaging in. I still think I'll be waiting this month to see what happens. But I think we're going to get some pretty spectacular buy prices this month, and I'll be dollar cost averaging in for sure. So I still believe in everything we got here. I love the Pulse Chain ecosystem. I love the community. I love Richard Heart, and I'm here for it. I think we will be participating in a very, very nice run towards the end of the year. I think the RH court case is going to go well, in my opinion. I think the ETH ETF is going to do well and going to bring a lot of liquidity into the ecosystem. And I am super, super positive on this ecosystem overall. And I think it's going to be fun to ride this up with you guys. So I agree with you, Brizology, but the problem is, what if it goes 50% lower? I agree with you. I just dollar cost average in like last week or a week and a half ago. Like,
I didn't. I'm sitting on
where's the bottom, you know?
Yeah. I want to wait.
Now I dollar cost average in Paul Sexton Inc. and my value's still there. I haven't lost my value. Good thing I didn't dollar cost average into Pulse and Hex. So I went into the more stronger assets and they're holding their value. So, but I want more Pulse. I want more Hex. I'm just wondering where, I think to your point, Dane, it is a good idea to wait for some structure or see what's going on.
Yep.
So no, that's it, man. Let's go have some lunch. You guys, keep it positive out there. This is all part of the cycle. We're just in a movie. The script's already been written. This is just what we're going through right now, and you will be rewarded for hodling and believing in these assets. So, yeah, that's it for me, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like Corey said, smash the likes and subscribes on your way out, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Peace, guys.